Alright everybody, welcome back to another turn of Operation Montagnard. This will be turn 15 for the Japanese, which is July 43. Before we get into it, I will have the Electrion joining us for the selection of target select and casualties for the allies. He should be joining very shortly, but he has reported that I can go ahead and start recording and start getting the lead up to the combat out of the way. Before we get into it, we do have a bit of housekeeping from the Soviet Union. First off, the fighter which participated in the combat of Afghanistan and then landed in Syria had to fly over southern Iraq, which is prohibited, and it has chosen to land in Azerbaijan instead. Additionally, the combat in southern France was given a hit for the German, Vichy artillery, which should not have been given. So the Soviet infantry does get a hit on round one, killing one of the Vichy militia. And we do also have to roll out the rest of the die to see if the Soviet infantry survives. We'll have a Vichy fighter at 6. That's a miss. 3 infantry at 4. All misses. And 2 militia at 2. Of course, one of the militia hits. Okay, so the only difference here in this combat is that one of the militia, which was reported to have survived, should be dead. And with that, we should be completely ready to move on to the Japanese turn. As always, I will do the tech first. I have rolled a tech off-screen using the Dice Maiden. Got a miss of 3 with radar and a miss of 6 with improved construction. Sad days for our tech. Alright, for declaring buys, the Electrion's in. Okay, I'm declaring 53 IPP spent, saving 1, buying 4 militia, 2 upgrades, 8 infantry, 1 heavy tank, and 2 stages of heavy cruisers. Alright, with that, we should be able to get into the combat moves. We'll start from Rabal. From Rabal, we have a naval transport, which is coming out of port, picking up an infantry and an artillery. And then those units are moving south 1, 2, 3 into P73. Both of those units are disembarking onto the northern island of New Zealand, and they're being joined by the Marine, which started from the South Island across the narrow crossing. Oh. That works. I am recording right now. I'm just going to keep going at it, okay? Okay. Continuing with combat moves, we'll have from P50 a group of 1 destroyer, 1 TBD, and 2 raiding submarines. All of those units will come off of whatever designation they are. We have 2 units on escort and 1 unit that was raiding. None of those units are going to be doing that anymore. They're going to be going north into... I blocked the C-zone number. The C-zone left of Luzon and the Visayas, and they're going to be joining one of the battleships there. And they'll also be joining 1 light carrier from Guam, which is starting its movement from the Mariana Islands and moving west. And then all these units are moving from the C-zone east into the East China Sea. All these units are going to be grouped up into 1 little fleet, and I will be separating them into 2 groups because I have a continuing force and a screening force. So we'll put these guys on this fleet marker, and these guys will come off to go to a different fleet marker. And that'll do. Okay. So we have the 6th Fleet hanging out in... I blocked this C-zone number 2. P32. They're going to be joined by the fighter from Luzon and the Visayas. 1, 2. There we go. And they are on this node right here. Okay. And then the remaining units from P50 and P whatever's left west of the Luzon Messias, that's all going to be coming also into the same C zone of P32, but they're going to be on the Second Fleet task force marker. And of course, they're coming off of escort designation for that as well, and also raiding for the battle cruiser. And that's all of the major task forces. From the Second Fleet is also going to be joined by, well, most of the 18th Air from Nanking, with the exception of the the strategic bombers. Okay, so I believe with that, now that all the units are on standby just off of China, they can declare entering the sea zones. So the first group, the 6th Fleet, is going to be moving into P15, um, and it will be declared as a screening force. We have one battleship, one destroyer, one TBD, two submarines, a light carrier, a fighter, and then this seaplane from Formosa is going to go 1-2 on to maritime air patrol in that sea zone to submerge any submarines. Alright, and then we'll have a continuing force of the rest of the units from the sea zone moving, if they can, if the combat is victorious, into P16. And they will be joined by all of the naval units from Tokyo, two kamikazes, and a fighter from Honshu is going on maritime air patrol in P16. So the Okay, so actually, I'm a little unclear on that one. I did specifically look into the rules on that. It does say that aircraft need to have screened and that they can't participate in a um, combat after having screened fighters. But it also has the other clauses of screening are just blanket statements in regards to sea zones. I don't see any exclusion for aircraft in the sea zone screening and continuing rules. So I interpret the screening of fighters and the continuing of aircraft to be basically entirely land-based rules, and if you're ever in a sea zone, you can follow those rules. If I'm wrong, then that does change things a little bit on which aircraft can participate. Um, but I do also have aircraft carriers here, which would just end up being targeted. Okay. Um, yeah, okay. We'll get we'll get confirmation from the general chat, I guess, before we settle anything permanently. Uh, at any rate, I definitely do have enough carriers there to land them all if it does need to come to that and they don't die. Okay. Um, so let's keep going and resolve that later. Okay. Okay. And then we also have 2 coastal submarines in P62, rating in P60, and also 1 destroyer from Nanking. 1, 2, well, he's moving 1 here, picking up the Marine from the Philippines, and then 2, 3, 4, and capturing the Solomon Islands. I am also declaring the strategic bombers from Nanking are flying out and carpet bombing Hainan, as always, and an airborne infantry is walking from Amtonkin into Burma. So those 2 are free captures. That is all of my combats declared. Not going to be doing any others. So let's go ahead and roll the big one first. Big set first. So we'll start in P15. I have set aside the die. These are the upper die for P15. We have no first strikes. Both of us have... Oh, you don't have a destroyer. Okay, so we do have 2 submarine first strikes for the Japanese at 3 or less. Both misses. Okay, from there we can roll out the rest of the combat. We'll start with air superiority. Have a 6 or less for the Japanese. That's a hit. Fantastic. Okay. Then we have battleship rolling at 8. That's a miss. Destroyer rolling at 4. Miss. A seaplane rolling at 3. Hit. And a TBD rolling at 2. Miss. So 1 hit, and then the fighter got an air superiority hit. Yes, the green ones are the American subs, the blue ones are the French subs, is what I had in mind. Okay. Very manageable. Okay. I'm going to take that hit on the TBD. Alright, and the next round, all of the submarines are submerged. Okay. Yeah. So, I've already deleted my die. Okay. Just actually, I guess I deleted the wrong one. I deleted the one from the next battle. Do I have one from the next battle? You do. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Rolling for the 2 submarines. Misses. Fighter. Hit. That'll do it. Okay. That battle is done then, and we can move on to P16. Okay. You do have a destroyer on this one, and I don't have any subs. So there's no first strikes. Alright, let's do the kamikazes first, so I don't forget to delete them. Yes, I have a destroyer, so you still don't have first strike. Yeah. 2 target select hits. Could not have asked for more. Okay, we'll assign those in a moment. So then I have a battleship rolling at 8. Fair enough. Okay. Well, I'm going to sink your damaged battleship for sure, and then I'm going to put a hit on your heavy battleship. Okay. So that battleship roll, I'm going to re-roll it because I started rolling it before I should have. That's a miss on the battleship. Battle cruiser. Hit. 2 tactical bombers. 2 hits. 2 fighters not on map. No hits. 1 fighter that is on map. That's also a miss. 5 heavy cruisers. 2 hits. 2 light cruisers. 1 hit. And a destroyer. Miss. Okay. 6 hits other than the 2 target selects from Kamikaze. Alright. You've got the green die here. The die in the green box. That's a full heavy battleship. Yep. He is damaged, but only at the end of the first round. The Kamikaze happens in the first round. Nice. So this is a damaged battleship that was damaged at the start, and a heavy cruiser. And a sub. Yep. Okay. So you got 3 hits and a target select. Okay, so the second fleet is here. Okay. That would be that one. Okay. And then for 4 more hits? No, 3 more hits. This was target select. Oh, yeah. Okay. You got another one from Hawaii I just copied. Okay. So then the 3 hits I'm going to take are going to be 1 on a light carrier. I've got the brown die off to the side to keep track of them. Um, put him over here anyway. 1 on the fleet carrier, so that's going to be a damaged fleet carrier. And 1 on the battleship. So, battleship's at 6 now. Fleet carrier's damaged. And a light carrier's dead. Yeah, okay. These are tactical bombers. Yeah, okay. Okay, so for round 2, let's go ahead and press 2 tactical bombers. It's a target select and another hit. Fighters. One more hit from the fighters. That's the damaged battleship. That's a miss. Heavy cruisers. That's 4 hits. Yeah, I think so. Oh, okay. That could have gone better. Oh well, could have gone much worse too. None at all. Yeah, they were they saw that that this was good for everyone. Uh I'm thinking it's a possibility. Hmm. Okay. Yeah, the rest of them I can handle on my own. Yep. Okay. So we've got 4 hits to assign. Subs aren't there. It's gonna be for the second fleet. I'm gonna keep the light cruiser. I'm gonna destroy a destroyer. One. Tactical bomber. Two. Heavy cruiser 3. And light cruiser 4. So that's all the hits assigned. And those units are surviving. Okay. We've got a few more combats to deal with. Let's roll for the carpet bombing in Hainan. We've got 6 die at 2. 1 hit. Just playing Ring Around the Rosie with the KMT Bank and this militia that keeps popping up. Okay, and we've already free capped Burma and the Solomon Islands, and then we have to adjudicate subrating and New Zealand. In New Zealand, on round 1, we have 2 infantry class at 1. Of course, 1 hit, and 1 defending unit at 2. Miss. Okay, so New Zealand is over as well. And last should be subrating. We have 2 coastal submarines, which have a +1, and the gray Anzac die for the Commonwealth have bonuses of +3 for a net of +2 onto the Commonwealth line. That's 1 damage here and no damage here. Both ASW missed. Okay. Just grab 1 convoy damage. Deleted all mine. Yep. And remove 1 from the Anzac Bank. Okay. So let's go now into non-combat moves. Yeah, okay. First, we'll have to land all the aircraft. We've got 2 strategic bombers from Hainan that are landing in Nanking. We've got from P15, we've got a fighter that needs to land. He's going to land in Korea. The seaplane that mapped there is going to land in Okinawa. The units in P16 are... We do have a fighter that is hanging out in the sea zone already because he just mapped from Honshu. And that leaves... Oh man, I want to change my casualties if I'm allowed. I did take an aircraft as a casualty, so I would be willing to take another light carrier as a casualty too. I only kept as many as I had because I needed 4 landing zones. So I would prefer to keep a heavy cruiser and kill a light carrier instead. Just did some numbers off in my head. Didn't keep track of that I was killing an aircraft too. Okay, so the aircraft that just mapped doesn't need a carrier to land. The other carriers, I have one light carrier and one damaged fleet carrier that can carry the remaining 3 aircraft from the 18th Air if it is actually necessary for them to land in the C zone. Um, we did have a discussion. We still need to adjudicate whether or not that is the case when screening a C zone with a fighter. So I'll keep that marked as potentially housekeeping. And if they are out, then naturally, of course, the carriers will have to stay out as well. Um, Everything else is going to be going into port. Oh, yeah, okay. These destroyer, these are all dead. Um, okay, so everything else is going to be going in port. That's going to be the way I'm going to divide that up is a battleship and 3 heavy cruisers are going in Tokyo. 2 heavy cruisers and a light cruiser are going in the eastern port of Honshu. And I'll leave a map marker for that fighter too, because he's just staying there. I don't know if we have one on the board already. Yeah, we do. Okay. So then I'll keep all these guys as housekeeping. Potentially. Okay. And that is the end of the combat move with all combat aircraft having landed. So let's get into the non-combat. Okay, so a tactical bomber from Rabaul is flying to Luzon of Visayas. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. The destroyer from Rabaul is moving 1, 2, 3, 4 to that C zone west of Luzon of Visayas, which is P41. And it's going to be going in port in Kwangtung. I'll make sure it's clearly marked which port it's in a moment. We have one naval transport from P41 just coming south to P50, picking up an infantry and artillery, and then moving back north, disembarking those units into Anam Tonkin onto the 97th. And the naval transport is going to be going in port as well into Kwangtung. The other naval transport in P41 is going to be doing something similar, but all in strategic naval movement. From the port in Anam Tonkin, 1, 2. From here, it can pick up the artillery from Java. 3. Pick up the infantry from Sumatra. 4. And drop those units off at the port in Anam Tonkin. And go in port in Kwangtung. The Marine from Java is crossing the narrow crossing to Sumatra. And we have a Marine from Cochin, China, walking north into Tonkin as well. So we have 4 infantry, 4 artillery, 1 Marine, and 1 mountain infantry there in that zone. All right. Lastly, we have 2 naval transports which started in Kyushu. They're going to be picking up 3 infantry and a heavy tank from Honshu and deploying them into Nanking. And those transports will end up in port in Nanking as well. From Tokyo, we'll have 1 infantry boarding transport plane, flying 1, 2, 3, 4, dropping the infantry off in Rihi. 5, 6, 7, landing in Honshu, where it will be joined by all of the infantry class units. Just the 3 infantry. Yeah, just the 3 infantry, regular infantry from Tokyo. The airborne will stay in Tokyo. Alright, now that should be all movements entirely complete. The naval transport from P-73 needs to be going in port as well. Yeah, I think that's looking like what I want it to. Okay, and with that, I guess I can place buys, collect income, pass everything off. I don't think it's very much complicated here. There's no Lend-Lease. So we'll be deploying a militia upgrade and a militia in Sumatra. And that's just an infantry, basically, which is, pick up 1 there. 1 militia goes in Java, and 1 in Borneo. We have a militia upgrade militia going into Guam. We've got 2 infantry going into Guam, 2 infantry in Nanking, heavy tank. Oh no. Yeah, okay. Heavy tank and infantry will go in Rihi. Yeah, that's fine. 3 infantry in Kyushu. And that covers everything. The 2 heavy cruisers are not complete yet, so they're just going to be left on stage 2. Okay, for income, we have 47 base, plus 1 saved for 48. Should have 13 bonus now, 6 from China, 6 from, the big resource islands, and 1 from the Solomons. So that should bring me up to 61. Yeah, okay. I'm reasonably sure everything's taken care of here except for potentially these units, which may have to stay in C-Zone. So with that, I should be ready to pass everything off to the British Commonwealth for their next turn. Yeah, Alright. As always, before we go into that, I am going to do a quick unit recap of where all my units are on the board for our friends on the physical board. So let's go ahead and do that. If you don't need any of that, just go ahead and dismiss it, get rid of the video. Okay, starting south to north. South Island is empty. The North Island of New Zealand has an infantry, a marine, an artillery, and a naval transport in port. P40 or P54 has a destroyer. The Solomon Islands have a marine. P60 has 2 raiding coastal submarines. Java has 2 militia and a marines. Sumatra has an infantry, a marines, an artillery, and a militia. Borneo has 2 militia. Siam has 1 militia. Anam Tonkin has 4 infantry, 4 artillery, 1 marine, and 1 mountain infantry. Burma has 1 airborne infantry. Luzon and the Visayas has 1 militia, 1 tactical bomber. Kwangtung has 1 militia, 1 infantry, 2 naval transports, and a destroyer in port. Yeah, I'll draw a white line to those two to connect them. Yunnan has 1 infantry, Shangtung has 1 infantry, Hopei has 1 infantry, Beiping has an infantry and a militia, Rihe has 2 infantry, 1 militia, 1 motor infantry, 1 artillery, and 1 heavy tank. Korea has 1 militia, 1 fighter. Nanking has 2 militia, 2 naval transports in port, 2 strategic bombers, and 1 airborne, 1 marine, 8 infantry, 3 heavy tanks, and 1 medium tank. That should cover the mainland. Japan itself has 3 infantry in Honshu, transport plane, airborne, marines, and 3 infantry in Honshu, alongside 1 light cruiser and 2 heavy cruisers in port. Tokyo has 1 airborne, 1 militia, 1 damaged battleship, 3 heavy cruisers in port. P15 has... I want those guys to go in port too, actually. I'll just put them all in port in Honshu. Honshu has on the west side 1 battleship, 1 destroyer, and 1 light carrier. The 2 subs can't go in port there. Okay. I did miss Okinawa has a seaplane. And then there's the standard retinue of militia islands. Palau, the Caroline Islands, Volcano Islands, Bonin, Marshall Islands, and the Kuril Islands. Do you believe that's got everything covered? I didn't list Guam. Guam's got 6 infantry, 1 militia, 1 marine. That's got everything. Okay, with that I should be able to pass everything off, and I'll say best of luck on your next rolls.